How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Monday, November 22nd, and just to take a quick step back and look at where we are in the 2021 calendar year. There's no more baseball to be played left in the year, as of course baseball will resume in about March, April, but there's still awards to be given out, which is why I mentioned the MLB. When it comes to football, the college football season is almost over as it's in its final weeks. In terms of NFL football, yesterday was the 11th Monday of the 18-week season, so we still have almost 2 months of NFL left, regular season especially. Include the playoffs, we definitely have about 2 months. When it comes to basketball, college basketball just got started about a couple weeks ago, and the NBA happened to get started like a month ago. So just taking a very quick look at that's just a very quick step back of where we are. Now to jump right back in it, starting at the collegiate level, looking at the basketball games from yesterday, starting with the number one team in the nation, the Gonzaga Bulldogs faced off against the unranked Central Michigan Chippewas in the Good Sam Empire Classic. Gonzaga would beat Central Michigan 107-54, winning this game by 53 after they outscored Central Michigan by 24 in the first half and by 29 in the second. The first-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs were led by their starting freshman center, Chet Holmgren, out of Minneapolis. Chet Holmgren would go on to finish with 19 points and 5 rebounds as well as 4 blocks in 20 minutes. He shot 7 for 9 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and he made all 3 of his free throw attempts. With this win, the first-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs are 5-0, and unranked Central Michigan is 1-3 on the season. Looking at the second-ranked team in the nation from within the same tournament in the Good Sam Empire Classic, the second-ranked UCLA Bruins were able to beat the unranked Bellarmine Knights, as Bellarmine still looks to get a win this season. UCLA outscored Bellarmine by 11 in the first half and by 2 in the second half to come away with a 75-62 13-point win. The Bruins were led in scoring by their guard off the bench, Peyton Watson, their freshman out of Long Beach. Peyton Watson would go on to finish the game with 19 points and 2 steals in 20 minutes. Watson shot 9 for 12 from the field and made one of his 2 3-point attempts on the night. With this win, the second-ranked Bruins are now 5-0, and with this loss, unranked Bellarmine is 0-5. Looking at the fifth-ranked team in the nation, my Duke Blue Devils hosted the unranked Citadel Bulldogs, and Duke was able to beat the Citadel 107-81, outscoring the Citadel by 10 in the first half and by 16 in the second. The Blue Devils were led in scoring by their freshman starting forward, Paolo Banchero. He finished with 22 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 31 minutes. He shot 10 for 19 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he made all 6 of his free throw attempts. Their starting junior, Wendell Moore Jr., would go on to finish with 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the fifth-ranked Duke Blue Devils are 6-0. With this loss, the unranked Citadel Bulldogs they're now 3-2 on the year. Looking at the 10th-ranked team in the nation, the Kentucky Wildcats, hosted the unranked Albany Great Danes. Kentucky would beat Albany 86-61, winning this game by 25 after they outscored Albany by 9 in the first half and by 16 in the second. The Kentucky Wildcats were led in scoring by their starting freshman guard, Ty Washington Jr. He finished with 20 points and 6 rebounds as well as 2 blocks in 38 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the 10th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats are now 4-1. With this loss, unranked Albany is 0-5. Looking at the 12th-ranked basketball team in the nation, the Houston Cougars faced off against unranked Butler at the Jim Maui Invitational. Houston was able to beat Butler 70-52, winning by 18 points after they outscored Butler by 21 points in the first half. The Houston Cougars were led in scoring by their starting forward, Fabian White Jr., their senior out of Texas. Fabian White Jr. will go on to finish with 21 points alongside 8 rebounds in 32 minutes. He shot 8 for 13 from the field. He shot 3 for 5 from 3 and 2 for 3 from the foul line. With this win, the 12th ranked Houston Cougars are 4-0, and with this loss, the unranked Butler Bulldogs are 3-2. Looking at the 13th ranked team in the nation, the Arkansas Razorbacks faced off against the unranked Kansas State Wildcats for the Hall of Fame Classic presented by Hotels.com. Arkansas would end up beating Kansas State 72-64, winning by 8 after they outscored Kansas State by 18 in the first half. The 13th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks were led by their starting forward, Connor Vanover. Connor Vanover, their forward out of Little Rock, will go on to finish with 14 points and 5 rebounds. And then, of course, Arkansas's guard off the bench, Chris Likes, would also go on to finish with 14 points in 27 minutes. He shot 2 for 7 from the field, and he shot a perfect 10 for 10 from the foul line. With this win, the 13th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks are now 4-0. With this loss, the unranked Kansas State Wildcats are now 2-1. Looking at the 14th ranked team in the nation, the Illinois Fighting Illini went to Cincy to face off against the Bearcats in the Hall of Fame Classic presented by Hotels.com. The Cincy Bearcats outscored ranked Illinois by 3 points in the first half and by 17 in the second half to pull away with this 20-point win. The 14th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini were led by their starting center, Kofi Cockburn, their starting junior out of Kingston, Jamaica. Kofi Cockburn will go on to finish with 18 points and 7 rebounds in 27 minutes. He shot 7 for 13 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. The unranked Cincy Bearcats were led in scoring by their sophomore guard off the bench, Mike Saunders out of Indianapolis. Saunders would go on to finish with 20 points in 24 minutes. He shot 5 for 6 from the field. He made his only 3-point attempt of the day, and he went 9 for 10 from the foul line. With this win, the unranked Cincy Bearcats are 5-0. With this loss, the 14th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini are 2-2. Taking a look at what's going on with the 21st ranked team in the nation, the Seton Hall Pirates faced off against the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Fort Myers tip-off. After Seton Hall was outscored by Ohio State by 5 in the first half, they would outscore Ohio State by 2 in the second half. It wouldn't be enough, and the Ohio State Buckeyes would end up upsetting a top 25 ranked team. On the losing end of this matchup, on their first loss of the season, the Seton Hall Pirates were led in scoring by their starting guard, Jared Roden. Their senior out of Baldwin, New York, would go on to finish with 29 points and 5 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 8 for 15 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 11 for 13 from the foul line. The unranked Ohio State Buckeyes were led in scoring by their starting forward, E.J. Liddell. Liddell finished with 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 28 minutes. He shot 8 for 17 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he went on to make all 10 of his free throws on the night. With this win, the unranked Ohio State Buckeyes are 4-1. With this loss, the 21st ranked Seton Hall Pirates are now 3-1 on the year. Taking a look now at what's going on with the 23rd ranked team in the nation in the Fort Myers tip-off, the Florida Gators faced off against the unranked Cal Golden Bears. Florida would end up beating Cal 80-60 after they outscored Cal by 19 in the first half. The 23rd ranked Gators were led in scoring by their starting forward, Colin Castleton, their senior out of Florida. Castleton would go on to finish with 16 points and 8 rebounds in 26 minutes. He shot 6 for 11 from the field, and he shot 4 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the Florida Gators are now 4-0. With this loss, the unranked Cal Golden Bears are 2-3. Last but not least, taking a look at what's going on with the 24th ranked team in the nation, the USC Trojans hosted the Dixie State Trailblazers. USC would end up beating the Trailblazers 98-71. They won it by 27 after they outscored Dixie State by 11 in the first half and by 16 in the second. The 24th ranked Trojans were led in scoring by their starting guard, Boogie Ellis, their junior out of San Diego. Boogie Ellis would go on to finish with 19 points and 5 rebounds in 25 minutes. He shot 7 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, and he made both of his free throw attempts on the night. With this win, the 24th ranked USC Trojans are now 4-0, and with this loss, unranked Dixie State is 1-4 to start its season. That's everything from collegiate sports. Taking a look at what's going on at the professional level, starting with football. The last game of Week 11 for the 2021 NFL season took place in Tampa Bay as the defending Super Bowl champs Buccaneers hosted the New York Giants, the team that Tom Brady has lost to twice in the Super Bowl. And the Buccaneers would end up beating the Giants 30-10. The Buccaneers outscored the Giants 17-10 in the first half before shutting them out 13-0 in the second half. The Giants were led by their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, out of Duke. He ended up throwing for 167 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. The Giants' leading tackler on the defensive side was Xavier McKinney. He had 7 tackles on the day. And then Adoree Jackson out of USC would log the team's only interception. And then as Adoree Jackson finished with 3 tackles. On the winning end of this matchup, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are still undefeated at home, by the way, were led by their goated starting quarterback, Tom Brady. Brady completed 30 of his 46 passes as he threw for 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. He also ran for an additional 10 yards, so that's 317 total yards of offense for him. Their leading receiver was Mike Evans, their elite wide receiver. He had 6 receptions for 73 yards as he had a touchdown. Their second leading receiver, Rob Gronkowski, had 6 receptions for 71 yards. Their third leading receiver out of Penn State, Chris Godwin, had 6 receptions for 65 yards as he had a touchdown for himself. And then, of course, their leading tackler was Levante David. He and Devin White, their elite linebacker out of LSU, finished with 8 tackles on the day. And then in the secondary, Steve McClendon, who also went on to finish with, he finished with a pass defender. He finished with an interception. And then Mike Edwards would finish with the team's other interception as he had 2 of them on the day. With this win, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 7-3. And with this loss, the New York Giants are now 3-7 at this point in the season. Just to get a sense of what the NFL is looking like after Week 11, the NFL action will pick up on Week 12 on Thursday on Thanksgiving as the Lions host the Bears, the Dallas Cowboys host the Vegas Raiders, and the New Orleans Saints host the Buffalo Bills. Taking a look now at what's going on in the NBA at the professional level. Starting off in Cleveland, the Cavaliers hosted the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets would end up beating the Cavaliers 117-112. The Nets outscored the Cavaliers by 13 in the third in order to win this game by 7. They outscored the Cavaliers by 16 to overcome their 11-point deficit at the half. The Cavaliers were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Vanderbilt, Darius Garland. He finished with 24 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 9 for 27 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. Their starting power forward out of Arizona, Lauri Markkanen, finished with 22 points and 8 rebounds in 31 minutes. He shot 7 for 17 from the field and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. Their starting center, Jared Allen, he went on to finish with 20 points and 15 rebounds in 37 minutes. He shot 7 for 15 from the field, and he would go on to shoot 6 for 9 from the foul line. The Brooklyn Nets were led in scoring by their goated starting power forward, Kevin Durant. He finished with 27 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 blocks in 39 minutes. He shot 8 for 19 from the field and 1 for 4 from 3, and he shot a perfect 10 for 10 from the foul line. Their center off the bench, LaMarcus Aldridge, finished with 21 points and 11 rebounds in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 14 from the field, and he made his only free throw attempt of the night. The Nets' elite starting shooting guard, James Harden, finished with 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 14 assists and 3 steals, as well as 5 turnovers in 38 minutes, as the Beard shot 5 for 10 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Brooklyn Nets are now 13-5. With this loss, the Cleveland Cavaliers are now 9-9 on the season. Taking a look at where the Washington Wizards are in the nation's capital, the Wizards hosted the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets would end up beating the Wizards 109-103 after the Hornets outscored the Wizards by 10 points in the second quarter. That really was the difference. At home, the Wizards were led in scoring by their center off the bench, former NBA Sixth Man of the Year, Montrezl Harrell out of Louisville. He finished with 24 points and 18 rebounds in 27 minutes, shooting 10 for 13 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line. In the Wizards starting lineup, their elite starting shooting guard, Bradley Beal, finished with 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 5 for 18 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, and a perfect 6 for 6 from the foul line. The Charlotte Hornets were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Terry Rozier. He finished with 32 points and 2 steals in 35 minutes as he shot 11 for 19 from the field. He shot 8 for 11 from 3 and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard out of Chino Hills, LaMelo Ball, would finish with 28 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 6 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 10 for 24 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3, and 5 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the Charlotte Hornets are now 11-8. With this loss, the Washington Wizards are now 11-6. Taking a look now at what is going on in Boston, the Celtics hosted the Houston Rockets. The Celtics would pull away with a 108-90 win. They won this game by 18 after they outscored the Rockets by 18 in the third quarter. The Rockets were led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench, Aaron Brooks. Brooks finished with 17 points and 2 steals in 25 minutes. He shot 5 for 9 from the field, all 5 of his made attempts coming from 3, as he shot 5 for 8 from the three-point line and 2 for 3 from the foul line. The Boston Celtics on the winning end were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward, Jason Tatum. Tatum finished with 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 10 for 22 from the field, 1 for 9 from 3, and a perfect 9 for 9 from the foul line. And with this win, the Boston Celtics are now 10-8. With this loss, the Houston Rockets are now 1-16 at this point of the season, as they are still looking for their first road win. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks hosted the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Hawks beat the Thunder 113-111, winning this game by 12 after the Hawks outscored the Thunder by 16 in the third quarter. The Thunder were led in scoring by their starting small forward, Luguentz Dort, their first overall pick out of Australia, Josh Giddey, and their shooting guard off the bench out of Virginia, Ty Jerome. Luguentz Dort finished with 15 points and 5 rebounds in 30 minutes. He shot 5 for 16 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. Josh Giddey finished with 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists alongside 2 blocks in 31 minutes. He shot 6 for 13 from the field and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. Ty Jerome finished with 15 points and 3 steals in 16 minutes. He shot 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. The Atlanta Hawks on the winning end were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Oklahoma, Trae Young. He finished with 30 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists in 32 minutes. He shot 9 for 20 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, and a perfect 7 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the Atlanta Hawks are now 9-9. With this loss, the Oklahoma City Thunder are now 6-11 on the year. Taking a look at what's going on in Chicago, the Bulls hosted the Indiana Pacers from within their own division. The Pacers would beat the Bulls 109-77. They won this game by 32 after they outscored the Chicago Bulls by 20 in the first half and then by an additional 11 in the second. They went by 11 in the second half. After they outscored the Bulls by 21 in the first half. The Bulls on the losing end of this matchup were led in scoring by their starting small forward out of USC, DeMar DeRozan. DeRozan finished with 18 points in 27 minutes, shooting 8 for 16 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. The Indiana Pacers were led in scoring by their starting power forward, former back-to-back All-Star Domantas Sabonis. He finished with 21 points, 11 rebounds. He did all that in 26 minutes as he shot 8 for 14 from the field and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the Indiana Pacers are 8-11 on the year, and with this loss, the Chicago Bulls are now 12-6. Taking a look now at what's going on in Milwaukee, the reigning NBA champs hosted the Orlando Magic. The Bucks beat the Magic 123-92 after they outscored the Orlando Magic by a combined 41 points in the first half, outscoring them by 20 points in the first and second quarters, by 21 in the second quarter. The Orlando Magic, on the losing end of this matchup, were led in scoring by their center off the bench, Mo Wagner, out of Michigan. He finished with 18 points and 2 blocks in 24 minutes. He shot 5 for 9 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Bucks were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of UCLA, Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals in 23 minutes. He shot 8 for 14 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3 as well. Their elite Greek starting power forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo, finished with 12 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 blocks in 24 minutes. He shot 4 for 12 from the field and 4 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 10-8. With this loss, the Orlando Magic are now 4-14 on the season. Taking a look now at what is going on in New Orleans, the Pelicans hosted the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves will get the best of the Pelicans as they won this matchup 110-96. They outscored the Pelicans by 17 in the second quarter to eventually go on to beat the Pelicans by 14 in the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Pelicans were led in scoring by their starting center, Willie Hernan Gomez. Hernan Gomez finished with 19 points, and he would also go on to finish with 11 rebounds in 22 minutes. He shot 8 for 9 from the field and 3 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting small forward, Brandon Ingram, finished with 9 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 turnovers, and he would do all of this in 37 minutes. Brandon Ingram shot 2 for 13 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. The Minnesota Timberwolves were led in scoring by their elite starting center, former number 1 overall pick, Karl Anthony Towns. He finished with 28 points, 5 rebounds, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists in 35 minutes as he shot 10 for 21 from the field. He shot 2 for 6 from 3 and 6 for 8 from the foul line on the night. Their elite starting point guard out of Ohio State, D'Angelo Russell, finished with 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 8 assists in 31 minutes. D'Lo shot 3 for 16 from the field, 1 for 10 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the foul line. With this win, the Minnesota Timberwolves are now 8-9. With this loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are now 3-16. Now taking a look at what is going on in San Antonio, the Spurs hosted the Phoenix Suns, and the Suns were able to get yet another win on the road as the Suns beat the Spurs 115-111. The Suns outscored the Spurs by 13 in the first half and carried that momentum through the end. The Spurs were led in scoring by their starting point guard, Devin White. Derek White would go on to finish with 19 points and 2 steals in 40 minutes as he went on to shoot 8 for 17 from the field on the night. He also shot a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. The Phoenix Suns were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Devin Booker, out of Kentucky. He finished with 23 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists in 34 minutes, shooting 7 for 17 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. Their starting center, former number 1 overall pick, DeAndre Ayton, finished with 21 points, 14 rebounds as well in 33 minutes as he shot 10 for 16 from the field, 1 for 2 from the foul line. Their point guard off the bench, Cameron Payne, finished with 20 points in 20 minutes as he shot 6 for 12 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the foul line. And the Suns' elite starting point guard, Chris Paul, would finish with 12 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 6 for 12 from the field, and with this win, the Phoenix Suns are now 14-3. With this loss, the San Antonio Spurs are now 4-12. Last but not least, taking a look at, or not last but not least, 2 more games left. Jumping out to Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz hosted the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies would end up beating the Jazz 119-118 after outscoring the Jazz by 5 in the fourth quarter. The Jazz would be on the losing end of this matchup were led in scoring by their starting small forward, Bojan Bogdanovic. Bojan finished with 24 points in 30 minutes, shooting 8 for 14 from the field, 7 for 11 from 3, and making his only free throw attempt of the night. The Jazz elite starting center out of France, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 23 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 9 for 10 from the field and 5 for 6 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell, finished with 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. He did all this in 36 minutes as he shot 5 for 20 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. The Memphis Grizzlies were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Ja Morant. He finished with 32 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 9 for 30 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3, and 11 for 14 from the foul line. Their starting shooting guard, Desmond Bane, finished with 28 points and 2 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 12 for 20 from the field and 4 for 8 from 3. And then their starting power forward, Jaren Jackson Jr., finished with 26 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 19 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and 4 for 5 from the foul line. With this win, the Memphis Grizzlies are 9-8, and with this loss, the Utah Jazz are 11-6. Last but not least, taking a look at what's going on in Sacramento, the Sacramento Kings hosted the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers would end up beating the Kings 102-94. The Sixers outscored the Kings 25-12 by 13 in the fourth quarter to, of course, overcome their 5-point deficit and win this game by 8. That's how math works. Looking at how the Kings fared on the losing end of this matchup, they were led in scoring by their starting point guard out of Kentucky, De'Aaron Fox. He finished with 23 points and 5 rebounds in 36 minutes, shooting 7 for 15 from the field and 8 for 10 from the foul line. Off the bench, their shooting guard out of Oklahoma, Buddy Hield, would go on to finish with 21 points, 9 rebounds, and he did all this in 31 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. The Philadelphia 76ers were led in scoring by their starting point guard, Tyrese Maxey. He finished with 24 points and 2 steals in 35 minutes. He shot 8 for 22 from the field and a perfect 8 for 8 from the foul line. With this win, the Philadelphia 76ers are now 10-8, and with this loss, the Sacramento Kings are now 6-12. That is currently what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a quick look at what's going on internationally, there's not much going on as there was a La Liga and a couple of Serie A matchups that went on, but none of them were important enough to really shake up their tables. But with that said, I want to thank first the NCAA, the FIFA websites, the NFL and NBA websites for giving me all the facts and figures that I needed in order to do this episode. And I want to thank everyone for listening to all 28 minutes of this piece. And once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Wednesday, November 24th for another episode of The Elite. But until then, thanks for listening to this episode. I hope all is well. And once all is done, I'll come back tomorrow. Thanks for listening to this piece. I hope all is well. And peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.